Hey, welcome to the TVP channel, and today we do have a SGD Sentry Guard Dragon against the Vanquisher here. And the SGD will go first in this game, riding into the Great One here, and passing that turn to the Vanquisher. Now he does try to the Nice clone here, which is slightly special because it does search the top 7 for both Vanquisher, which is the now OG Vanquisher as well as a full Bronto. But unfortunately we do see actually missing the search. And he does just swing like this without any other commitment, but he does get to a critical trigger here, so very strong player. But with 2 corner blasts, the RP can do quite a lot, and he does try to the weak stand here, looking at top 7. And he does hit into the Maron. And with the Maron, he's able to actually commit further if he does want to use the corner blast there. He actually uses the Allen here instead to call the Grandpa there to draw 1. And the Grandpa does help with the SGD quite a lot if you ask me. And the quick shield will be forced out, and we do see a critical trigger being returned to the Narukami player. And we do see full Bronto being hit into the damage zone, and the second full Bronto I think, so it's very unfortunate for the Narukami player. And we do see actually riding the Cholo here, punishing the SGD player for actually committing early aggro. And he does call the Glitchy Signature, hitting to the Vanquisher there. I do believe Vanquisher is a very strong deck, and it does require the player to actually make smart plays. But however, we do have Gurgrit being dominating the scene as well as not, so we don't see a lot of Vanquisher being played around in Japan. And we do see him actually calling the second Glitchy Signature here, and we do see him actually hitting to the Jaggy Shot. Jaggy Shot is such a super broken card, and it does help the full Bronto card because full Bronto is considered as a Draconic Vanquisher. He does decide to discard the 2 Vanquisher in his hand, so his hand does clog out with a lot of Vanquisher. He does use the Glitchy Signature to hit off the Maron, and use the Cholo to hit the side, damage denying the SGD player. Now do note that the SGD does have a counter charger here, and we shall see whether he has it. So damage denial has been done. And we do see actually riding the SGD here and going for the force one. Very interesting play. And the Naru does go for the no guard here, and we do see a critical trigger, but not a second critical trigger seen here, and it's a heal trigger, so it's only dealing 2 damage, pushing the Narukami to 5 damage. Now will the Vanquisher be able to fight back? He does try to Dragonic Vanquisher here, going for the Accel 2, drawing 1. He does move back the Glitchy Searchers and preparing the Jaggy Shot's turn, calling out the Jaggy Shot first. And we do see actually calling the Rock Climber there, which is a very strong card introduced alongside with full Bronto. And we do see actually 2 Jaggy Shot in this turn, and he will be doing a lot of cycles. But because without any regard committed by the SGD player, the 10k power gained by the Vanquisher skill is quite hard to achieve, I would say. So he does swing the Rock Climber first for 5k guard. The SGD does hope for a damage trigger here, but he doesn't see anything. And Rock Climber skill does activate, drawing 1 card and binding 1 card from hand. And we do see actually binding the Chatura, which Superior Chord from hand is able to get the 10k bonus power. And the Vanquisher here will just be seen with 12k power, and a 15k guard will be used here for 2 to pass. We do see a Kanzen coming to the Chatura, and we do see a critical trigger, which will be placing on the Jaggy Shot. And do note that there is only 1 bind card so far, so the Vanquisher skill doesn't activate yet. The Chatura here will be swinging for a massive power of 33k without the Vanquisher skill because of the trigger as well as its own skill. And the 30k shield will be forced out here. And it does use the Jaggy Shot here, boosted by the Glitchy Searcher. The Jaggy Shot will activate first to actually bind 1 card from hand. And if opponent doesn't have any rear guards in the front row, he's able to draw 1 card. So he does decide to bind the Great One Nice here, which is basically a superior call for free. And he's now able to draw 1 card because he does fulfill the condition for the Jaggy Shot. And this will be a 15k guard. Do note that the second Jaggy Shot will have a trigger pumped to him, and the Jaggy Shot does use his skill to go into the soul if you do not have any rear guards in the front row. He does swing the second Jaggy Shot, which is at least 25k guard. And because of the third bind here, the Vanquisher skill does activate, allowing for the 10k front row power, and it will be hitting quite hard, and SGD does eat the damage. And the last swing will be a 15k guard. Now will the SGD be able to make a comeback from his turn? We do see actually calling the Alan first to call a heal trigger. Oh no, a critical trigger. And we do see actually calling the Maron and using the Maron skill to call the heal trigger and then calling another card and then hitting to an automount there. So as you can see, the SGD doesn't have any grade 1 from hand, but he's top decking everything like a skilled player, and he does hit to the grade 3 here using the skill here, counter blasting 1. So blasting 1, the 2 units get 10k power, he does opt to get the grade 3 and SGD power up, and he can counter charge 1 because he does have 4 or more damage. And the SGD here will be swinging for 33k with a base critical of 2 because of SGD skill, and a 35k shield will be forced out here, and it will be a 2 to pass. Unfortunately, we do see a double blank here, and SGD skill will be used here to discard 1 card and restanding it, resting the back row 3 rear guards, and then plusing 10k power to the front row. And the PG will be forced out here because SGD is swinging for a mighty power of 43k power. But the side is hitting for 33k as well as 15k only from the heal trigger. And the critical trigger will be pumped to the side, and it will be swinging for just a 25k power, which is very little, as the 15k shield will be sufficient, and the side will be guarded as well, and it is Vanquisher turn once again. And this should be game. The Vanquisher does go for his turn, riding to a second Vanquisher here, gaining yet another Accel circle. Accel circles has always been very strong because it does provide 1 additional attack for free, and it does allow you to draw 1 with the Accel too. And that is called the Cho-O first, binding the grade 3 and moving up the grade 1. And 1 card has been bind so far. That's called the Rock Climber here. And we're committing yet another Grade Searcher behind the Vanguard to boost. And we do see actually hitting to a Jaggy Shot here, which is quite crucial for this attack pattern. So Narukami has always been, I would say, a deck that rewards smart plays. So the player who uses it have to think quite thoroughly before commencing his battle phase, and does use the Vanquisher skill here first to bind 1 card from each player hand and 1 on the field. A total 3 bind has been successful here, and the front row will get a permanent front trigger buff. So it actually does bind the grade 1 from hand and then calling a jacket shot like this. And with the potential of having 5 attacks, or rather 6 attacks this turn, this should be lethal against the SGD. He does swing with the grade 1 first for 15k guard, and the SGD does concede, and this is game. Thank you for watching till the end, and do consider subscribing and dropping a like and a comment if you do enjoy the content.